Thank you for joining us here today on Hill Country Happenings News Minutes. Now, on Thursday, February the 14th, in Pontotoc County, Mississippi, around 3:30 p.m., two workers at the American Furniture plant discovered a fire in one of the warehouses and then another fire in another one. Due to the intensity of the fires, the weather conditions, and only one fire hydrant made for some difficulties for the firefighters. The blaze took around 2.5 hours to put out. Backup tankers were called, and Ingomar, West Union, and Southwest were called out. American Furniture stated that no employees were injured in the fire. Further investigation led police to believe it was arson. Now, this was the third fire to happen at this facility in just over a year. And on Thursday, a Pontotoc County man was taken into custody. Friday, he was charged with 3 counts of second-degree arson in connection with Thursday's fire. Pontotoc County Sheriff Leo Mask released the suspect's name. Now, we reached out to the Sheriff's Department, but we didn't receive a call back in time for this recording. But we did learn that the suspect was arraigned on Friday and bond was set for $100,000. The suspect confessed to setting the fires after he applied for a job at the facility. He was a former employee at Delta Furniture and had recently been terminated. American Furniture Randy Spake said, "American Furniture will continue. We told all our employees to report back work on Monday." On February the 23rd, USA Dance New Albany chapter will hold its first community dance at the event hall. USA Dance New Albany Charter 621 is a new charter in the North Mississippi area and is open to anyone who would like to come. You do not have to be a member, but are strongly encouraged to join. Now, the dance will start at 7 p.m. and it will start out with mini lessons, so those of us that are new can learn a few steps to help us begin. And then from 7:30 to 9, it is time to dance. There'll be many different styles of music played by their DJ, and there could also be line dancing also. Tickets for adults are $10 for members, $12 for non-members, and for youth 18 and under, tickets for members are $5 and for non-members is $7. Please come out and support this wonderful opportunity to dance. Oh, and no partner required, so single people are welcome too. Now, on Tuesday the 19th, Luncheon with Books will be happening at the library. Linda Everett will review Jefferson's Daughters, Three Sisters, White and Black in a Young America by Katherine Carrison. Now, the library is located at 219 King Street. You can call 534-1991. A light lunch will be provided by the New Albany Mothers Club and will start at 11:30. Program is at noon. The Museum Moments is Thursday, February the 21st at 11:30. And don't forget, the museum has a new exhibit called Image and Identity that you can see while you're at the Museum Moments. And Saturday, March the 9th, 1 o'clock, come to the library for movie time. March's movie is Trolls. Now, the library is located at 219 King Street, and you can call 534-1991. They also have story time for preschoolers. Now, February the 20th is Skippy John Jones Fun. They also have To the Moon, and then in March is going to be Happy Birthday, Dr. Seuss, Happy St. Patrick's Day, and many more. Now, the program is Wednesday at 10 a.m. at the library for preschoolers. Baptist Memorial Hospital, Union County will host a free luncheon open to the public which aims to raise awareness of heart disease, especially on how to make lifestyle choices that lead to the optimal heart health and recognize symptoms of a heart attack. Now, the luncheon will take place on February the 25th at noon at the Fellowship Hall at Hillcrest Baptist Church, which is located at 216 Highway 15 South. One of the cardiologists from Stern Cardiovascular Foundation is the featured speaker. Although the luncheon is free and the program is free, pre-registration is required. Those interested may reserve a space by calling 538-2613. Now, according to the most recent data available from the National Center of Health Statistics, Mississippi ranks about the same as the nation. The number one killer is heart disease. It's the leading cause nationwide and accounting for 1 in every 4th death, according to the Center of Disease Control and Prevention. Baptist Union County wants to serve as a resource for helping improve the overall health of this community, said Walter Grace, CEO and administrator of the hospital. The 10th annual New Albany Home and Garden Show, presented by the Union County Master Gardeners, returns to historic downtown New Albany on April the 6th. And this year's show is titled Dancing into Spring. The Master Gardeners are an active part of the Union County Extension Office, helping local gardeners and homeowners with educational materials. The theme of this year's show, Dancing into Spring, offers another avenue for education about topics on everything from recycling to growing beautiful roses. The Master Gardeners will also host musicians and intends to bring shopping opportunities with a variety of vendors. If you have a product that you feel would be a great addition to the Home and Garden Show or need more information, please contact Pat Campbell at 316-2719. On February the 28th of 2019, a concert featuring New Albany's very own Zeke Listenby will be presented. This concert is a fundraiser for the Alicia Robinson Memorial Scholarship and promises to be a fantastic opportunity to showcase Listenby's many talents. The New Albany schools helped Zeke grow up as a musician. He can remember as far back as Miss Rita West and many others who encouraged his musicianship at a very early age. The band program in New Albany helped to mold and shape several elements of his gifts and talents. Throughout my time in junior high and high school band, Billy Eubanks and Kevin Cole always challenged, nurtured, and gave me opportunities to develop not only my musical skills, but my leadership skills as well, Listenby explained. Now, in the 10th grade, while playing with the high school orchestra, Miss Vicki Harmon asked Zeke to arrange a song for the senior musical, Bye Bye Birdie. Now, this challenge set him on the course of becoming a composer. 1 year later, Miss Betty King, Zeke's former piano teacher, introduced him to Raymond Libby. Libby is a choral composer, concert, and jazz pianist from the University of Mississippi. I met Mr. Libby in 1996. He never tried to change who I was as a piano player, but he gave me wisdom and expanded my musical knowledge. I couldn't have achieved many of my accomplishments if it wasn't for him and Mrs. King's mentoring and encouragement. Zeke was also honored to play with the Mosley and Johnson Blues Band during his high school and college years. He learned many lessons about hard work and professionalism from them. They were extremely serious about creating great music. But even though they had sold over 1 million records, Sam and Bob would show up at our home and we'd sit and play music and hang out like they were part of the family. Hill Country Network will be meeting with Zeke in a sit-down interview the week of the show, and we look forward to talking with him. Blue Mountain College is having a scholarship gala April the 26th. Now, this is their 4th year to do this. This year's special guest is John Barry. Barry is a singer-songwriter who rose to stardom on the country charts of the 1990s with such mega hits as Your Love Amazed Me, Standing on the Edge of Goodbye, and She's Taken a Shine. He was born in South Carolina and was raised in Georgia. He began playing guitar at 13 and performing shows while he was out and about. We hope to catch up with him while he's here. Now, thank you for joining us here today on Hill Country Happenings News Minutes. Please be sure to go to Instagram, where our own Kendall Cook has been posting more of our photos, and go to Facebook page and follow us there. He's also been taking care of that, and it's really come alive. Please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe so that you will not miss any of our original programming. If you have any type of information that you would like to share with us, such as comments or questions or even stories that might be out there, please feel free to contact us at any of the information listed. We hope you'll stay tuned for the rest of the show. We're going to have some more highlights of the Oxford Film Festival. We're going to be showing some more clips with Sam Mosley and friends from the Link Center. And we're also going to have some happy little music with some geese that we ran across at the tennis courts here in New Albany. We hope you'll stay tuned, and we hope you have a wonderful week.
You know, about 25 years ago, I wrote a song called The Whole World Has Got the Blues. Oh, yeah. And then, thank you. But you know, then when I looked up a couple of years ago and I saw where things that was happening 25 years ago was happening again now. So I wrote a new song called The Whole World Has Still Got the Blues. Every time I pick up my paper, I turn my TV on, something somewhere is always going wrong. We've got to get ourselves together, find out what we can do. Funny thing about it, seems like the whole world still got the blues. Up in Washington, D.C., we got a brand new president. They still lying and trying to deny it, and it still don't make no sense. They've got to get themselves together, find out how to tell the truth. But you know what? Funny thing about it, seems like the whole world still got the blues. Play just a little blues for you right here. Way over in Russia, they say the Cold War is over and done. But we still got wars and rumors of wars. Look like the fighting is never done. We've got to get ourselves together, people. Find out what we can do. Funny thing about it, seems like the whole world has still got the blues. I thought I had enough money to retire and spend. I invested heavy in the stock market, and don't you know the wall come tumbling in. I still got the blues.
Tell you something you should know. Should have said it, boy, a long time ago. You ain't rocking my world. You ain't shaking my tree. Times ain't now, honey, like they used to be. You got a troop of monkeys on your back. You got a $2 bill in your nation sack. But you ain't rocking my world. You ain't gonna shake my tree. Times ain't now, honey, like they used to be. You say you call, and I'll wait. 2 weeks later, boy, why you hesitate? You ain't rocking my world. You ain't gonna shake my tree. Times ain't now, honey, like they used to be. Life is short, love is big. I feel like spinning till I lose my wig. But you ain't gonna rock my world. Boy, you ain't gonna shake my tree. 'Cause times ain't now, honey, like they used to be. Well, I can shake it, break it, throw the dog a bone. I can wiggle, I can wobble, I can do that clock still moan. But you ain't gonna rock my world. Boy, you ain't gonna shake my tree. 'Cause times ain't now, honey, like they used to be. You ain't digging my potatoes, honey, stay away from.
Leaving the house early before my mama come back home. To go down a movie and hear a few good songs. Yes, I miss the family, but they're happy when I'm gone. So I headed to the movie store, getting a stone, and there ain't nothing, baby, nothing I can do. I just thought a little it was easy to see around. First thing I noticed was a seat right there. A few years older, but you seem the same way. And your eyes, girl, just took me away. And there ain't nothing, baby, nothing I can do. And there ain't nothing, baby, nothing I can do. In this bottle, girl, I swear I was about to drown. Running by the barroom, just acting like a clown. I ain't never worked hard, never done the best that I could. I look deep in these eyes, I'm still the same man. But there ain't nothing, baby, nothing I can do. The worst part of my job is barroom's dark, so nobody they can see around. First thing I noticed was a sit right down. Swear I've grown older, and I swear I've changed my ways. But her eyes, girl, what they do, just took me away. And there ain't nothing, baby, nothing I can do. There ain't nothing, baby, nothing I can do.
I think a lot of us feel all the time that there's not a whole lot we can do sometimes about situations and things going on, and which is why I would probably write songs and do music. Because it feels like movement, even if maybe it's not moving anybody. You know, it's moving forward. But there's something that we all know deep in our hearts, and that is that love is really the way. Even though we can't control ourselves and we're angry and we're mad and we want to hate on people and make judgments about people. But when it all gets down to it, the title of this song is exactly the way I feel about the world, that love is the cure for everything. I love Muslims, I love Jews, I love Christians and Hindus. I love atheists and communists too. I want to love everybody like I love you. I love blacks, I love blues, I love whites and yellows too. I love Mexicans, Koreans and Swedes. I love Americans, though we may disagree. Love is the cure for everything. Love is the cure for everything, yeah, yeah. Love is the cure for everything, people. Love is the cure for everything. Well, now, I hate war, I hate pain, I hate greed and murder the same. I hate hunger, sickness, abuse. I hate them all, but what can I do? Give my money, give my time, give my heart every time. Give my prayers and I give my voice. I give, I hope it is enough. 'Cause love is the cure for everything. Love is the cure for everything, yeah, yeah. Love is the cure for everything. Love is the cure for everything, yeah, yeah. It's the cure. Love is the cure. Well, you can call me a hippie, a socialist dunce. Say my mind is melted, my intellect's dust. But I still quote Jesus like Martin Luther King. 'Cause love is the cure for everything. 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 Love is the cure, yeah, yeah. It's the cure for. Love is the cure, yeah. Love is the cure for everything, people. Love is the cure for everything, yeah, yeah. Love is the cure for everything. Love is the cure. It's the cure. It's the cure for everything.
Good morning. It is day 4 of the Oxford Film Fest, and we are so excited to have some people here talking with us. I'm going to let them tell their name and the name of their project.
Hello, I'm Deva Wizenant. I'm the director of Bathtubs over Broadway.
Steve Young. I'm the subject of Bathtubs over Broadway.
Great. I'm so glad y'all come and sit and talk with us this morning. how did you hear about your subject?
I used to be an editor at the Late Show with David Letterman, and I met him there, and that was many years ago. And he told me, well, he didn't tell me when we worked together that he was collecting these crazy records of corporate musicals. I found that out later after I moved to Los Angeles. But in the course of working for the show, he had stumbled on this insane subject. I'll let him tell you about what the movie's about.
We please, sir?
So I used to be a writer for David Letterman. I spent 25 years working for him, and one of the tasks that I had as a writer was collecting material for a bit called Dave's Record Collection, in which we would make fun of weird record albums. So I was going out to find the raw material for this segment, and I kept finding these souvenir albums from company meetings and corporate conventions, and they were musicals, which seems insane. There were whole musicals about Ford tractors and selling tires and the problems of being a Coca-Cola bottler, and they were not all terrific, but a lot of them were really great, and I just thought, this is better than anything I could have imagined, and I want all of this that I could find, and I want to find the people who did this and wrote them and performed in them. And eventually, as the years went by, and I amassed a collection and then co-wrote a book about this, that's when filmmakers began to ask, could there be a documentary here? And Dava stepped in and said, this is going to be what I'm going to do. And I said, thank you for stepping forward. Yes, this is exactly what's going to happen. And that was 5 years ago now. The movie was done about a year ago, and we've been touring around with it for much of the past, 9 months or so.
That is so much fun. You know, I was thinking about weird songs, you know, like the Here to Dose and Do-si-do and Little Goats Like Ivy, you know, Little Goats Eat Ivy, you know, and it comes out really weird. So that's great. I can't wait to hear this.
One of our favorites is from the musical The Bathrooms Are Coming, which was a plumbing musical, and the song, it's a beautiful song called My Bathroom, and that's featured in the movie, and it's you can't believe how beautiful and how hilarious this is all at the same time.
Which one was your favorite? Do you have a favorite?
The American Standard Bathroom Fixture musical is always right up there. I also put right at the top of the list the Detroit Diesel Engine musical from 1966 with all the songs about selling and servicing diesel engines, which is just crazy. Just when you hear about it, that's got to be a joke. And then it's real, and it's sincere, and the talent behind it was absolutely first rate. And you just think, what a miracle that I have stumbled upon this alternate universe of show business. It made me so happy.
Did you ever get to meet any of the people that wrote the songs, or I was involved in the making of their musical?
Actually, Dava managed to set up a lot of shoots in which I meet people and talk to them, in some cases never having met them before. And you see on camera my first meeting with some of these people who to me are legends. The outer, wider world may not always know who they are, although there were quite a few famous Broadway talent who worked on these projects as well, and some of those people are in the movie also.
Amazing. Who are some of the talents?
We've got the writers of Fiddler on the Roof, Sheldon Harnick. Actually, his partner Jerry Bach is no longer with us, but Cheetah Rivera is in it. Florence Henderson, you know her from the Brady Bunch, but we know her from the Oldsmobile musicals. Martin Short, and Dave Letterman is in the movie as well, because we follow Steve as he starts as a very cynical comedy writer at the Late Show, through him learning that the show is wrapping up, and then what happens to him after. So, yeah.
What was it like working with David Letterman?
Well, he was a wonderfully sharp and curious person, and I was thrilled that he became a supporter of this movie. He's an executive producer on the movie as well as appearing in the movie. He recognized in my curiosity something of the spirit that he likes to cultivate about doing something weird and cool for the right reasons, just out of love and curiosity. And so he signed on to be a part of this project as well, which we're thrilled about. But yeah, I worked for him for 25 years, and I have what I call comedy damage, which comes up in the movie. I've seen too many jokes, and they often don't make me laugh anymore. And I think Dave Letterman also has a touch of that. But anytime you could make Dave Letterman laugh, you felt like you'd really accomplished something. So I enjoyed the instances where I really tickled his funny bone in a way that he wasn't expecting.
What was the most memorable part of this project for you?
I would say it was shining a light on some performers and composers who thought that no one would ever understand what they did or appreciate what they did, and being able to knock on their door and say, "Hey, we think what you did on this '66, car musical was beautiful," and so that's been really the most satisfying thing. And to bring them out and get them together and have them perform again was just a really marvelous experience. Yeah.
Have any of those people seen the finished product?
Yes, very luckily, even some of our most senior dear friends, people in their 90s, have managed to stay with us and see this thing come to fruition. My dear friend Hank Beebe, he's 92 years old, lives in Portland, Maine. He worked on these corporate gigs for many years, assumed no one would ever understand what he had done or care or ask him about it. And then I show up, and by the end of the movie, without giving too much away, I have actually come to collaborate with him on a new song that we've written together, which is a big part of the movie at the end.
That's so exciting. Wonderful. Whenever I heard about this project, I thought, what a unique way to get creatives an opportunity to show their work. Because, like you said, I had never heard of any of these before. And so, was there anybody that did not want their project put out there?
No, and that was the crazy thing is I thought people would maybe not want to talk to us, that there was maybe, I wondered if there was a stigma attached to this work, and on some level I think that was true, but the most famous people in the film were so proud of these shows. They gave them, and we have a 5-time Tony winning choreographer and director who said that she, this gave her the skills she needed to be a Broadway star. It let her try new things. Cheetah Rivera and Florence Henderson were so proud of being involved in these things. Also said that it helped them learn. And then some of the people who didn't become super famous, they I think were maybe hesitant at first. They didn't know if we were going to be making fun of them, because some of the musicals are very funny. I think they weren't quite sure where we were going to take it. But then, and when I started the project, I wasn't quite sure where I was going to take it. But it was seeing his connection to these people develop over all these years to the point where he gets teary talking about it in some of the interviews. I thought that's really what this is about. That's the heart of this, his connection with them, and what he's able to do by collecting all of these things that were just supposed to be disposed of. No one was supposed to keep these albums. No one was ever going to see these shows more than the one time that year when it came out. And he has saved this part of American culture. So I think everybody's really happy with the project and proud to be a part of it because of that reason.
What about you?
I'm thrilled that Deva found so many facets to this project. If you see the movie, you'll understand, wow, this is very hilarious and very bizarre, and that would have been enough, maybe. But then we have all this commentary about American history and how American businesses used to have a certain relationship with their employees, and they really felt like we're all a family, and we're going to be together every year, and we're going to have this convention every year at which we all recommit ourselves to working together. And I think we've lost some of that, and we're trying to get back to it now. So that's part of the movie that really resonates with people. But the unlikely beginning of these bizarre corporate musicals as a vehicle for taking me on this journey where I go from sort of cynical and disconnected to really feeling like I can meet people and be curious about them and love and respect the great things they've done. That's why people come out of the movie crying happy tears quite often.
That's wonderful. Thank y'all for doing this for America. I mean, because this is something we wouldn't know about without y'all. Thank you for your work, sir. Hey, I'm sitting here with John, and I'm going to let him introduce himself and tell about his project. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is John Whitehead. I'm from St. Paul, Minnesota. I'm a documentary filmmaker. I'm here at the Oxford Festival with a project called Don't Get Trouble in Your Mind, the Carolina Chocolate Drop Story. It's a feature documentary about the band, the Carolina Chocolate Drops from Raleigh, North Carolina, who are young, were when I started anyway, young African American hip hop age artists who play fiddle and banjo music. And it's the story of their kind of rise to fame. They won a Grammy in 2010, and the backstory of the music, so that the banjo, which everyone thinks of as the white hillbilly instrument, actually came from Africa. And there's this new emerging knowledge and scholarship about that backstory of the African American influence and contribution to what we call country.
How did you hear about these young men?
Well, I'm a musician myself. I play old time music. I play banjo and mandolin, and was just interested in finding a topic about roots music, and learned about this thing called the Black Banjo Gathering, which was a conference, a music conference in 2005 in Boone, North Carolina. That was a bunch of people had come together online, African Americans who were interested in the African roots of the banjo. And so they did this conference, and at the conference, the members of the band, Rhiannon Giddens and Don Clemens, before they formed this band, met. And I was there when they were met. So incredible piece of luck, and I recognized right away their talent and that there was a story.
There's original music and then there's repurposed music.
Yeah.
Do they do the original or do they just kind of do what they feel?
Well, they have broken up since, but their repertoire was largely traditional music. One part of the story is they found at this conference they met an 87, he was 87 at the time, year old African American fiddler named Joe Thompson from Mebane, North Carolina, who was the last living African American fiddler of this country music tradition. And they were able to go to his house. He mentored them, and the film shows about how that happened. And he passed on these songs that he had learned that his daddy had taught him. So just like whites had square dances, blacks had frolics. They played this music, social music with fiddles and banjos, like corn shuckings. There was this whole parallel story of rural black music that these kids learned. And then they took that to the Grand Ole Opry and a Grammy.
Wow, it's pretty amazing. It is very amazing that you were able to capture that and so others can learn it. Whenever you spoke to that gentleman, the 87-year-old,
Yeah.
What was the thing that was most memorable about that?
Well, really, it was just an amazing afternoon. They had been going to his house on Thursday evenings for over a year to apprentice with him. And they invited me to go along. And I was just really a fly on the wall. I just sort of observed and tried to capture the magic of what was going on in that room. And it's really a great scene in the film. Joe also loved to sing gospel songs. So there's a beautiful gospel song he sings. He had had a stroke, so it was hard to interview him. His speech had been affected, but the music was still very strong. So it's really a scene about, we sort of show and don't tell in that scene.
Have you still been in touch with them? Or are they still very active?
Well, they're no longer playing as the Chocolate Drops, but all three have gone on to solo careers. Rhiannon Giddens has kind of blown up. She's got a solo record deal. She's everywhere. She's working with big people. She's on the Nashville show, the ABC show Nashville. She's done some theater work. She was nominated for a MacArthur Genius Grant, the grant that gives you $600,000 to do whatever you want. She's worked with people like Elvis Costello and Mumford and Sons. Don Flemons has got a flourishing solo career. He was just nominated for a Grammy. His latest project is a album of black cowboy songs. He actually is from Phoenix, Arizona, and has a relationship with the Smithsonian. Justin is kind of retired from music full time, but he's trying to launch a cooking show that looks at the African American and Native American roots of Southern cooking. So he's a really creative guy who's always got a creative project going. So I think we're going to see that coming soon. So yeah.
What are some projects you've worked on in the past?
I did another music film about a band from Louisiana called the Hackberry Ramblers that aired nationally on Independent Lens on PBS. I've done a whole mix of stuff, a lot of regional stuff in Minnesota. Um, I've done a film about the Minnesota State Fair that still plays. I did a really interesting project about abandoned farmhouses in the upper Midwest. Um, and worked with the composer Peter Ostrushko, who was on Prairie Home Companion. Um, I've done a lot of environmental and historical stuff. I did a recent project which was a biography of Dr. Charles Eastman, a Dakota Native American Indian who was the first Native American to become a physician, and that's airing on PBS right now. So a mix of historical, cultural stuff.
And I'm sure you have a project in the works.
Yeah, I'm just trying to enjoy. People want to know what the next thing is, but the reality is it's a full-time job promoting this. And I worked on it for so long, I really want to give it the attention it deserves and enjoy it loving me back a little bit. So that's really what I'm doing right now. I'm just focusing on that.
What did you think about the showing last night?
It was great. The Oxford Festival has been great. It's got a great reputation, and it lives up to their reputation in a great setting. It's got a lot of great energy, and they really pay attention to the filmmakers. And it's an honor to be here.
Is this your first time in Mississippi?
Other than just driving through on the interstate. Yeah, first time I've been actually hung my hat here for a night.
Well, that's great. We're glad to have you. If you had any advice for a filmmaker, what would it be?
Keep going, persistence, and don't give up. That's it.
Thank you so much for talking with us.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Y'all stay tuned. Good morning.
Morning. How are you this
I'm
morning?
doing great.
Good to see
Thanks
you.
for coming by and talking with us.
Of course, it's great to be here. Great to be here in Oxford. It really is fun.
How long did it take y'all to make this project?
We shot Ghostlight in 20 days, the production of it, but it's been a 3-year odyssey to get it going, to get the script written, to raise the money, to get the cast, to finish the movie, now to get it out the door and sold, and so it's been 3 years. Which is actually relatively, for an independent feature, that's pretty good.
That's good.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the barn y'all were in.
Well, the barn is, want me to hold this? There were two barns, actually. The barn, they were both in Groton, Massachusetts, which is a really small town outside Boston, about 45 minutes. And the upstairs, the stage was one barn, and that was an active barn. Below it had cows underneath, and the smell of cows was on the stage, which was pretty funny. And then the dressing rooms and the other parts of the theater, which appeared to be downstairs, was actually another barn. But they were relatively close. We finished in one, and then we moved to the other, so we didn't go back and forth. But they were just barns, and we had a brilliant production designer. Chad was just unbelievable, and Chad Detweiler, and he loved barns, and then he had this idea, and they just did a masterful job of turning them into a theater. So,
The original idea was to actually just build a set. We were working with New England Studios, who was our partner on this, and they were a wonderful studio facility in central Massachusetts, and we were going to build a set, but one thing led to another, the complications of that, the availability of the studio space, because things are just cranking in Massachusetts right now. And there was a TV series called Castle Rock that was on Hulu that was shooting in the studios, and they needed the space. So all of a sudden we didn't have the studio we were hoping, and we thought, and Chad had the brilliant idea, said, let's go find a real barn.
Right.
And it was perfect. It was a great idea, and it worked out really well.
Who did your special effects in your movie?
Oh, well, thank you for asking. We are pretty proud of the effects that are in Ghostlight, and a guy named John Nugent was our visual effects supervisor, and his company is called Sandbox VFX, and they are out in the Berkshires. They're a Massachusetts company, and John is just a wonderful, humble, low-key guy who's just brilliant. He was one of the visual effects supervisors on Lord of the Rings. he spent about 3 or 4 years down there with Peter Jackson doing Lord of the Rings, so he comes kind of highly recommended. And so he started up his own company out in the Berkshires, which has become a real hotbed for visual effects. And he just did a wonderful job. Yeah.
What was your favorite part of the production?
Finishing. The favorite part of the production, you know, this sounds corny, but I mean, John and I, the first time we ever worked together, and I was just sort of, you know, as difficult as it is, it was just fun. And the thing that makes filmmaking, I mean, there's harder parts and get, you know, all the wrangling and the money and the physical stuff. But the actual wonderful part about filmmaking, especially when you make things up and do them yourself, is just that it's always something different. And so that's what's the most fun to me, is that one day John and I are worrying about, you know, I can't remember, the barn, and what are we going to shoot, and the next day it's a cast person, and the next day it's finding the right person to get something else for you. And anyway, it's all fun. It's difficult, but it's fun, because it's always something else.
Yeah. And writing this script together, we spent hours and hours and days just laughing, just just goofing, you know, thinking, sitting around, kind of kicking things around, writing stuff on the chalkboard. Who are these characters? What's going to happen to them? What is the manifestation of the curse? Figuring that out, you know. Okay, is it something to do with the witches? Okay, yes, it's the witches. And so anyway, we had so much fun figuring that all out, and then to see it come alive on screen, you know, now 3 years later, is just the joy of filmmaking, really, and what makes it such a passion for people, and you know, for people like us that just love it. We're so lucky to be able to be doing it.
So for those people who are new to films, because there are some, believe it or not, give us a little bit about your background.
Sure. Well, I am a Massachusetts native. I started as an actor when I first got out of college. I went out to LA and spent a few years out there, and I had some success. I was the Kentucky Fried Chicken guy on a national campaign. So. That was fun. But anyway, but I quickly realized that I had a lot more to offer than waiting for my agent to call and book me an audition. So I moved back east. I met my wife, started our family, and I dedicated myself to making my career as a producer, writer, director, editor in Massachusetts. And that's what I've been doing ever since. And so I've got about 15 films under my belt and sold them all over the world. And
So drop a couple of them.
Well, my first big one was called The Legend of Lucy Keys. It starred Julie Delpy and Justin Theroux, which was about a haunting on the mountain right near where I live. Since then, I've done a film called A Christmas Kiss, which is a perennial favorite at Christmas time, and it's been running now for 8 years, I guess. And I did another film called The Wrong Car, which was a thriller that we sold to Lifetime, which was a lot of fun, and you know, and many others along the way. But yeah, it was fun. And Jeff comes from a more Hollywood, a bigger budgeted studio background, which is pretty cool itself.
I actually grew up, I was born in the Midwest, but I grew up in New Hampshire, but moved away when I was 18, ended up in California after law school. I'm a lawyer, California lawyer, but I won a contest writing comedy at Fox, and sort of ended up, I wrote a couple scripts, and it was miraculous anyway, and I went into the entertainment business, became a producer with a guy named Paul Mazursky, and with him I produced, or probably have, 7, 8 films that and Down and Out in Beverly Hills, Tempest, Moscow on the Hudson, and I produced J.J. Abrams' first movie. Nobody's heard of J.J. Abrams' first movie, but it's called Taking Care of Business. But anyway, so I did all of that, and then my wife and I moved out to Boston about almost 9 years ago now. Basically, as our daughters were getting to be teenagers, and we were tired. We love L.A., thought it would be a good idea to raise them in a slightly more civilized way, and it's been a wonderful thing. And then I've been writing scripts. I met John, and the rest is history at this point. So,
well, guys, my time is up with you, but we'll be here all weekend.
Excellent.
If you think of something you would love to share, stop by and see me.
Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, have a great time.
You too.
Bye.